Today's video offers solution to our previous video, 20 signs your child will be a troubled teen. Welcome to the channel, Everything Parenting and More. It's a space provided for parents, those who are thinking about parenting, teachers, guardians, and anyone interested in raising our future generation. Here we dive into real issues that affect families. For example, parenting challenges, emotional well-being, social pressures, physical health, spiritual balance, and so much more. The goal is simple: to give you practical advice, encouragement, and strategies that can help raise confident kids and build stronger families. If you are a parent or someone interested in shaping our next generation, then this channel is for you. Subscribe today and click the notification button and join us as we learn, share, and grow. Let us identify the undesirable behaviors from the previous video. If you did not look at the previous video, I suggest you stop this video right now, click the link in the description button below, and find out the undesirable behaviors that your child would exhibit, and then return to this video. Communicate to all caregivers what your intentions are, and everybody must be on the same page as it relates to raising your child or your children. And this is going to help the process along smoothly. If it's a single parent family, parents, you have to love your child more than you hate each other, and you must communicate. Let's say the child is with you for a certain amount of time and then it goes to the father. Try to communicate. This is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to curb the undesirable behavior. I need you on the same page with me. So you communicate to all caregivers what your intentions are. Now that everybody's on the same page, let us establish roles and responsibilities: the parental role, the grandparent's role, and of course, the role and responsibilities that the child has to follow, because we know what we have to do as parents. We have to provide for them, we have to ensure that they have an education and stuff like that, but they also have responsibilities, and their responsibility is to obey us and respect us. So if one of the undesirable behaviors the child is exhibiting is rolling of the eyes, slamming the door, stoops, and using obscene language, that parent is a sign of disrespect or signs of disrespect. So we establish our roles and the child's roles and also responsibilities. Another thing we can do, parent, is, of course, is a must, establish rules and consequences for breaking the rules. And parents, before you even call a meeting with the child, everybody involved in raising this child must be on the same page as far as rules and consequences for the action that follows. Why? Because if grandmother is not, if grandmother is not if the grandparent is lenient and the daddy is lenient, but mommy is the only forceful one, or mommy is lackadaisical with the rules and grandparent is smothering and only daddy is forceful, it is counterproductive. And all that will happen, parents, is, remember, what I want you to remember is you are dealing with super intelligent human beings. That is what I'm going to be calling your children from now on for the rest of the video. Super intelligent human beings. So the child would realize, aha, if I go by daddy, this is the results. But mommy will not, but mommy is different. I can get you with mommy, or I can get you with grandma, or I can get you with grandpa, or stepdad, or stepmom. The child chooses the weakest link, or the person who is most likely to give in, because they are super smart, super intelligent, right? And they know how to manipulate the entire family situation to get their way. And it's not you giving your way to make the child like you. When we encourage the child in behaviors that are undesirable, we are just grooming them to exhibit worse behaviors when they get older as teenagers, and then we have a serious problem on our hand, and habits are difficult to break. Now we call the child. Now that we have established the rules and the consequences and the roles and the responsibility, we call the child to a meeting. It would be nice if all involved are at the meeting at the same time with the child, and if that's not possible, then one person, let's say it's a single parent family, the parent call the child and say, listen, these are the behaviors, this is what you do, and this is what it means. And this is what I am not going to tolerate any longer. I have already spoken with your mom. I've already spoken with your dad, and we are on the same page. These are the consequences when these behaviors happen. Let the child know we are not picking on you, but these are behaviors that you exhibit, and we want you to change for the better. And these are the consequences if you do not follow our behavior and our rules. And we want you to know we love you, and we want you to be a better person. And in becoming a better person, this is the new way the family will be going to help raise a wonderful citizen. Okay, parents, one thing I forget to mention in listing the consequences for the actions, make sure they are doable. Don't list things that you know you're not going to do. Remember, you're dealing with super intelligent human beings, and they would know, mommy not going to do that. Daddy not going to do that. I can't see grandma doing that. You understand? So list things that are doable, things that you know exactly. You break the rule, this is what is going to happen. Because guess what, parents? These super intelligent human beings are going to test you to see if you're serious. They're going to test the waters. Let me do this and see if mommy is serious, or let me see if daddy is serious, or grandpa is serious. Hi, kitty. Say hi. Yeah. Okay, parents, another thing you can do is model the behavior, and you must model the behavior. So if one of your rules is no obscene language in the house, then daddy cannot be cursing mommy, and mommy cannot be using obscene language at daddy, and grandma and grandpa cannot be cursing the child, and mommy and daddy must not be cursing the child as well, because behavior is learned. And if that's how you communicate, you are teaching the child, this is how we communicate. When we get angry, because we use obscene language at each other. And eventually, the child will be using obscene language at you. Every behavior you want to see modeled in your house, you must model the behavior. If one of your rules is no obscene language, then you cannot be cursing the child, and you cannot be cursing your spouse, because you are teaching the child this is what you do when you are upset. And remember, we're dealing with super intelligent human beings, and they model the behavior. And yes, you would say what you don't want them to do, but they would do exactly what they see you doing and what they hear you saying. And also, parents, I want you to, another thing is to implement apologies. So when you correct the answer, then you let them know, and this deserves an apology. If the child don't know of itself that the child has to apologize, this determines an apology. And then the child should say, I'm sorry, ma, for walking off. I'm sorry for slamming the door. I'm sorry for stooping. I'm sorry for back talking. You understand? And you demand and you accept your apology. What you're teaching your child when the child apologizes, remember, we are dealing with super intelligent human beings, but we are also raising the next generation. And your son is going to be somebody's husband one day, and your daughter is going to be somebody's wife one day. And when that time comes and somebody does something wrong, then it will be easy for your child to apologize. I'm sorry. And also, your child is dealing with, before they even become husband and wife, they're dealing with peers at school, and you're teaching them to apologize. Parents. So moving along, a lot of the behaviors are habits, and habits are difficult to break. So yes, you have a meeting with the child, and I told you the child will be testing the waters, and also remember, the child will be doing things because it's a habit. So what you have to do is, as soon as the behavior rears its head, you deal with it. You don't wait and let it pile up And it happened 5 times, 6 times, 7 times, 8 times, and then one day it just explode. And then you start to talk about, you did that this day, and you did that the next day. And no, 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 no. You deal with it one time as it rears its ugly head. So the child walks off on you and slam the door. You call back that child. This is the behavior I spoke to you about. It is a sign of disrespect. I want you to go back to your room. Go back to your room the way how you should. And if the child is playing, the child don't know how to walk to the room because we are dealing with super intelligent human beings. You walk to the room and show them this is how you walk to the room, and this is how you close the door. Yes. Yes. This is how you stand when I'm speaking to you. And this is how your face supposed to be if the child is rolling the eye and pouting the mouth and all of that. Yeah, show them. This is how it must be done. Okay, parents. So, as I say, habits are hard to break, and the child might do something that gets you very, very upset. You might have certain triggers that just trip you. What we have to avoid going on in a shouting match with the child because two angry elephants, they don't really solve the matter. You get together, you fight, and what happens then? So you're showing you are the bigger person, and you deal with it when you are calm and when you can handle it. If you know you're upset and you might do something that will get you in trouble with the law, parents take a breather, walk away, and when you can handle it, you come back and you fix it. Not 3 and 4 days later, when the child forget what has happened, you fix it. Okay, parents, when you are correcting the child about the behavior, it is wise to be firm, clear, and short. So you're not giving them a lecture. Every time you're correcting the behavior, it's some lecture. And if it's the older parent, you want to go back in 1976. And da, 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 da. After a while, the child stop listening. So we don't want them to just turn off the ears on us. You did this behavior. I didn't like it. It's a sign of disrespect. This is how it must be done, blah, blah, blah. These are the consequences. Finish. Finish. Don't go on and on and on, else our children stop listening. So we are clear, firm, and short, and our no means no. Remember, we are dealing with super intelligent human beings, and you would say no, and the child will come. For some of you, give you a nice hug, rub your head, give you a nice kiss, mommy, daddy, da 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 da. And at the end, the child, let's say you took the phone away, the child wants the phone, and so the child determines how to get the phone from you. So if it means rubbing up your head, giving you a little kiss, put in your bag, walking you to your car, putting your bag on your lap, closing the door for you, the nice things that you like. The child will do it. And then you might just say, okay. And say, mommy, can I get the phone? Daddy, can I get the phone? And you say, yeah, go ahead, go ahead. The child would have just won. So when the behavior starts to show itself, and you say, Sam wants his phone back. Mala wants her phone back. When they're finished with all the lovey-dovey, say, thank you so much for being loving. And when they ask, say, no, it is no, it's for a week. You would get it on Sunday at whatever time. Parents. And you stick to your guns, because if you don't do it, then your consequences would be a waste of time. I know what to do with mommy, man. Mommy would change her mind, and then you would not be helping your child. Another helpful tip, parents, encourage cooperation with logical expectations. When you are finished doing your chores, then you can play outside. When you are finished doing your homework, then you can get your tablet. Yes, parents, it must be like that. And they would understand eventually if you've never established rules and consequences and all of that. Another very important tip when dealing with our super intelligent human beings, and I would have slightly mentioned it, hinted on it before, parents, you reward or congratulate good behavior. Yes. so that the child wouldn't feel you're just picking on them and you only recognize when they do something wrong and you could never recognize when they do something right. So every time they do something correct, you praise them. Hey, thank you, Sam. You wash the wares. That's considerate of you. Thank you for folding up your clothes. Yes, it makes the place cleaner. Thank you for sweeping. Thank you for carrying out the bin. Thank you for being nice and thoughtful to your smaller siblings. And you always praise the good behavior. So the child would know you're not just focusing on all the negatives. Okay, parents, so it's good to validate emotions, but still hold your boundary. Keep your boundary. Keep your stance. So it's okay to be angry. It's okay to be upset. You know, if you're a Christian, even the Bible talks about be angry and sin not. So we are expected to become angry from time to time, but you can't be disrespectful, right? So it's okay to be angry, but my answer is still no. We all experience times when our children are crying. They cry from babies. They cry since they are small, and they appeal to our attention because they cannot communicate, and we see about them when they are crying. And some children take this crying to another level. So you tell the child no, and the child begins to cry. Or the child throws himself or herself on the ground and start to put up a real tantrum, and they kick in. Ah, I want it now. Parents, before it gets to that, this is what this video is about. Training our children so that we would not be embarrassed in the public. Last but not least, parents, tough love. Yes. So even though your child is crying and your child don't like your decisions, don't change it because they don't like it. That is why we are parents. We know what is good for them. They do not know what is good for them. They want what they want, and we have to want what is best for them. And so the decisions that we make sometimes would make our children cry, and they would cry to see, well, okay, let me cry and see if daddy would change his mind. Let me cry and see if grandma don't like when I'm crying. I'm going to cry when grandma is around. And I know grandma is going to tell mommy she needs to change her mind, or tell daddy he needs to change his mind. And that is why parents, from in the beginning, I said, we must all be on the same page. And when we make a decision, we make it together as a unit. And if you have a child where all these things that I've discussed in this video is not really helping, then you need to get professional help. So parents, I hope you can apply some of these strategies, get everybody on board, have your consequences for your actions, stick to your guns, stick to your decisions, and I promise you, you would see a change in behavior. And by seeing a change in behavior, you would be preventing an unruly teen who would embarrass you. Parents, if your child respects you at home, your child will respect the teachers, leaders, elders, and those in authority. If your child knows how to speak to you properly at home, your child is going to do that in public, and your child is going to do that to other persons. So that is why we have to fix our home situation. Fix how we deal with our children and how our children interact with us. And when we do that, then the children is going to interact with a wider community the same way the child interact with us at home. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for more videos.